Hey everyone, welcome to the Blender Bros anniversary video. This one's just going to be a small chat with Ryu and I about the past year or so, what we've improved on, what we've learned, different products we've released, future plans, things like that. Also, we have a pretty big announcement at the end of the video. I think you guys will enjoy it. So stick around for that. So this video is just going to be us chatting about the past year or so. We met just about a year ago, last May. So I wanted to start with kind of how we both started, just before we even met necessarily. So me personally, when I was in high school, freshman year of high school, I was 14 or 15 years old. I was in an AutoCAD class as an elective, and I got interested in 3D that way. We were doing like 3D printing stuff, making architectural renders and drafts and blueprints and things like that. And I enjoyed it, but it wasn't quite what I was interested in. Then I just looked up free 3D software, and of course, Blender is the first thing that popped up. So started with, I think, Blender Guru's videos, like everyone does. There were some other channels I was watching, like Tutor for You was a big one that I watched when I started. He uploads from time to time. He's a good teacher. There are a few others that I can't pinpoint off the top of my head, but that's kind of how I started. And I was just dilly dallying in the software for a few years, not taking it seriously. I probably took a year or two, probably 2 year break at some point. I didn't really use the software, but all in all, I'd say I started Blender 9 years ago. But the past few years is when I really started to get more serious about it and buckle down. So that's kind of my history, and I'll let Ryu talk a bit about his.
Well, Blender-wise, I started 2 years ago, and in fact, a bit earlier than that, but it was only like a 1 month, and it was back when the 279 was up. I bought the course, the Glab course, and Glab and 80, and then I bought one course from Chris Plush, the Corvette. Haven't finished either of them because I got just, really busy with photography stuff, and I had to drop it. But it wasn't more than a month, and then 2 years ago, I picked up seriously when 2.8 came out and started really hard with add-ons day one. And I learned watching Master Xeon 1001. It wasn't easy because, his videos are long and he's going fast, and I just didn't know anything, literally. I didn't even know how to add cube, I just forgot everything. So I was learning from scratch using, I think, 5 or 6 add-ons at the same time. So I was learning Blender and add-ons, putting, like 14 hours a day into studying, and it was fun. So that was my beginning with 3D. It was June 2019, I think. And, by my journey with art started ages ago, 2 decades ago. I started with Japanese calligraphy when I came to Japan. Met my teacher and started learning it. Then I brought it up to mastery level after years of studies because, it takes years. And I picked up photography and was working as a photographer for about 7 or 8 years. Can't remember now. Started with architecture because, Tokyo is amazing for architecture. Then I went through different stages and ended up with portraiture. And I think portraiture taught me a lot of things about composition and lighting because lighting is so important in portraits. And then I jumped into composites, which is insanely valuable for learning, not just composition, but also design, because you need to use different images and different bits of, some 3D models, whatnot, and put them together in Photoshop. So you have to create your scene from scratch in Photoshop, which teaches you a lot. It's like, it's like playing with Lego bricks, but on a PC in Photoshop, which is fantastic. And that, I think, was really important for me in terms of growing as an artist, and so I brought all this experience with me to Blender. Calligraphy was also very important because, calligraphy, Japanese and Chinese calligraphy is very peculiar because you need to envision what you want to write before you actually write it. And since you can't make any corrections and writing takes seconds, it's a more of an intuitive sort of a composition feel. So you need to literally envision what you're about to create in seconds before anything is on paper. So it takes a lot of studies and and practice, but it teaches you composition, impeccable composition. So if I see anything out of place immediately, it kind of strikes me like a hammer. And that was, I think, very important for photography. And then photography taught me a lot about lighting, like I said, and then composites, which was incredibly valuable, I think. So there was a very it was a very important foundation for 3D. And then I just had to learn how to use Blender, how to use all the tools, and how to find anything in menus and all the shortcuts, etc. But I had this ability of envisioning what I want to create before opening Blender, right? I knew what I want. I knew I wanted sci-fi. I knew, when I think of creating a, let's say, gun or a truck, I can see a shape in my mind, and so I don't draw. I simply envision it, or try to envision it. It's not easy, and requires practice as well. I always, practice every time. Let's say I record a tutorial or a course. I very rarely rehearse. It's usually I create when I'm recording. Of course, I make corrections and stuff, and sometimes delete some stuff. But basically, I don't model something before I record a course. I just go for it. And unless it's a very basic block out, then I might fiddle with some ideas and settle or something. But I think it's important to try to push yourself and try to envision what you want to create, and try to draw it in your mind, even a block out, and then just kind of play off of the elements that you see on the screen, and keep pushing it further and further. And just it's tough, but I think it's a fantastic way of learning.
And I'll pop in on that because I was basically the exact opposite. I knew Blender very well. I knew all the settings, knew all the tools. I basically did the same thing when starting Hard Surface and out on workflow, watching Master Xeon's videos religiously, and his videos are very, very detailed and have lots of information. But in terms of getting something quick, a quick piece of info, I mean, these are long form 3 to 4 hour tutorials. And they were difficult because there wasn't really much hard surface information out there besides a few courses. So I was also studying his videos religiously, seeing different techniques, utilizing, hard ops and box cutter workflow because these add-ons are just crazy good. And I just started making videos on just showcasing simple hard surface tips, so people didn't have to go through the long, tedious process of just studying long videos. And there are some videos 3 to 4 hours long that if I didn't watch the entire set, the entire video, there's probably like a 1 minute piece of info that is just crucial to hard surface, that a trick you see in there, but had you not watched the video, you wouldn't have known. So that's kind of why I started into the hard surface stuff, just showing a bunch of different tricks with add-on workflow, just stuff I knew in general. And there just wasn't a lot of information, and I think that's why a lot of people enjoyed the tutorials, because I basically removed the need to bypass the super long and tedious process of just watching people work, and instead just get right to the piece of info. And I think that helped out the hard surface space. A lot more people got into hard surface and are seem to enjoy it. We see a lot of people in our community sharing works, which is awesome. In terms of composition and renders and lighting and all this stuff, about a year ago when Ryu and I met, I knew I sucked at, well, I now realize that I sucked at lighting, composition, renders. I was basically doing the one thing that most people are doing, and totally understandable why. I'm doing all the modeling and then half-assing the final product. And you get this feeling that when you model, you're done because you finish the modeling, you finish the product, and you're done. Although you're probably not even close to halfway done. Because one, you need to make sure the design is balanced on your model. If you look at some of my old stuff, they were just awful. I've cleaned up my portfolio a bit since then. Second, you can make really simple objects look insanely good, such as I'll put it on the screen. This solenoid that Ryu made, it was his first render. You can make really simple stuff look cool simply by playing with camera angles and lighting. And it sounds easy on paper, but for the past year, I was studying a lot and just asking for direct feedback from Ryu, which helped a lot, which heavily improved my artistic skill set. I remember right around when we met, Ryu was working on this Moondragon ship. I'll put that on the screen as well. And he was just like, "Oh, what do you think about it?" And I think the first thing I said was like, "Oh, you should make it more centered." And he was like, "Man, you got a long way to go about learning composition because uh, that was just there was a reason he was placing it, more towards the left of the screen and giving room on other sides. And these are things that don't come intuitively until you just study and study and study and keep working on your skill set and projects. And in terms of envisioning things, that's another thing I struggle with. But what I can tell you in the past year of just really working hard to improve that skill set is the more you work and immerse yourself into the area you're interested in, the more your mind starts to be able to envision the models you want to create. So some people are like, "Man, how do you envision these things? I can't." Well, you can. You just haven't developed the mindset to do so yet. You need to invest lots of time working, getting feedback. Even works that you just want feedback on, just post it and ask for feedback. But the one thing I'd say is don't half-ass your work. If you don't feel like it's complete, it probably isn't complete. And that is one thing that I've definitely fixed because I was half-assing my work and not putting the full process in. I wasn't rendering properly. I wasn't doing lighting properly. I was whipping up a light and a render in 10 minutes, and that's not how it is. It should take just as long, if not longer, than how long it took to model your scene. And also post-processing is incredibly important, which I've realized. I studied a lot more Photoshop. You can use anything for post-processing, really, as long as you learn the tools. And I think those are the essential things that will improve your quality of work. And you can definitely see, improvements in my stuff within the past year. If you look at some of our older courses or older tutorials, I've definitely improved and found different techniques and ways to fix that type of thing. So that's kind of like a general history, I suppose, and just kind of how we worked. So hopefully you can take some of that advice and implement it into your workflow. Um, Ryu, did you want to touch on anything else? Because I want to talk about the products next. Did you have anything else to add?
Um, yeah, you guys need to check out some maybe videos made by people who are drawing, and some of them are showing the improvement, the drawing 3 years ago and now, and they continuously practice, just no other way to get better. You just have to practice. So if you look at someone who's doing something effortlessly, it's not because they were born with it, it's because they worked their ass off to get there. And the only way to get there is to just work really hard. And if you really like something and you're passionate about it, you don't really think about it as work, or something that's difficult, time consuming, because you're enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, then you probably should revisit your, whatever you're doing, because maybe it's not something that you should be doing. There's a lot of people thinking like, oh, I should become, I don't know, a lawyer, or I should become a psychologist or a doctor because they make a lot of money, or I should be doing game assets because, you can sell them. This is not the way to go about it. You need to think what you really want to do. Because if you're going to be doing something that you really enjoy, then you're going to be doing it well, because you don't think about the time investment. You don't think about, how many days a week you're working. Like, if I look back on what we've been doing with Josh, and let me tell you, we are incredibly lucky that we've met and bumped into one another, because we have a very similar mindset in terms of work ethics. We just don't have off. We sometimes relax and chill, but we simply like what we do so much that we just work constantly. Okay, if if you think about it, or we think about it, of what we've actually created, how many things we created, how far we've pushed it throughout the year, um, even we sometimes think that that's insane, but we don't think about it this way because we just simply enjoy it. We have fun. We really like to pushing the envelope, and that's another thing. It's important. If you think that something is easy and you feel comfortable with it, that means you should be moving to the next step. Because if you're doing something and you stay in a comfort zone, you're not improving. It's like going to gym. If you go to gym and you lift your weights for a month and the weight is the same, you're not gonna grow. You need to push and push harder every day because that's the only way to improve. So if you think that something is difficult, that's great because you found something that's challenging and it's gonna, make you evolve. And that's, something you should be pushing and sort of looking forward to, not to the easy stuff because, it's very easy to open Blender and model something similar to what you've modeled last day, or last week. Let's say you made a gun, and you're gonna make another gun. Well, if you do that, make something completely different, or try to think in a different way to how you thought about the first gun. So there are many ways of pushing yourself and many ways of trying to improve yourself. But whatever you do, you should always look towards something that scares you. Something that you think, shit, I don't know if I can do this. Okay, that's a good angle because that means that you're gonna be constantly improving. And yes, it's a lot of work. But like I said, if you really, really, really like what you're doing, then you just don't think about it that way. It's just fun, right? So
Yep,
that's,
yep.
I think that's, yeah. And in terms of what I've learned since we've met, well, Josh is an exceptional teacher. I think the only person that I know that's, equally good is Chris Plush, because Chris Plush tutorials are just off the charts. And Josh has this natural ability of teaching. And I've picked up a lot of tips and tricks, and I'm still learning constantly, from him. And so the mutual benefit of this partnership is incredible because that's another thing. You need to find, if you want to work with someone, or if you want to, let's say, look up to someone, or learn from someone, you need to find someone who has traits that you don't. Okay, someone that thinks like you, but they have different set of skills, so you can kind of exchange. Because again, it's a way to grow. And if someone gives you a criticism, or tells you something based on their experience or knowledge, try to take it on board and think, should maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I should just, kind of improve it. Because again, it's all about improving. That's why the Blender community is so amazing, because it brings so many people together, and each of them have different skills, and we constantly learn from one another, and that's why we grow so fast. And thanks to internet and YouTube and all these amazing toys that we have now, um, I think it's just incredible what can be done. So not catching is sort of grabbing this opportunity would be an incredible waste of possible talents, because everyone has some talent, right? Everyone has some gift that just waits to be developed, because it's people think, oh shit, I can't draw, or like, oh, I can't do this. Well, you don't know until you try. And if you try and it's not for you, then you have to move on and search for something new until you find it, because everyone has some sort of skills to, do something unique. But then when you find this niche, personal niche, you need to really work hard to develop it, because, success is like 5% of talent and 95% of hard work.
I want to add
It's
to
just,
that before you go on another Ryu tangent. um, take a sip of coffee. These points are very accurate, but one thing a lot of people are pushing nowadays, that I've noticed is luck. People use this excuse of luck to not improve themselves, and I'll just be direct that one of my favorite quotes is luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Some might say like, oh, you and Ryu are lucky for finding each other because you both can learn from each other and develop a similar mindset and develop these products together. You're lucky for that reason. Well, we both had preparation. We both prepared and knew 3D, and we both had the opportunity to, link up and build these products and tutorials together. And that is essentially what made up what people might call luck in this situation. Because if I was not prepared in 3D, if Ryu was not prepared in 3D or art, the luck would have meant nothing. There would have been no preparation, and there would have been no opportunity to capture. So what happened is we were both prepared, and there was an opportunity to develop, duo relationship to build, tutorials, courses, educational material. So preparation meets opportunity. So it's like, there's always this element of people pushing the idea of luck, when in reality, whether you're naturally gifted or not, if you enjoy it and you put in enough work, it's going to be a fun process, and you're going to get to the same area anyways. Keep working at it. If you enjoy it, it really doesn't matter the natural talent, because it can all be acquired in one way or another, as long as you have, the ability to type, the ability to, use the mouse and study, then that's really all you need. If you really want to get down to luck, you're lucky to be able to have a computer in front of you, access to the internet, and study these things on your own. That's, if you really want to get into luck, that's what I think luck is. So
It's
that's
a good
what,
one, man.
yeah, that's what a lot of people
Do,
seem to be pushing nowadays.
do you know the interesting thing you said about mm, that we were sort of prepared. We had this kind of like a foundation before we met. Because I remember turning to my wife one day. I think it was June 2019. Yeah, I said, "Listen, I'm starting learning 3D for real now, and I'm dropping photography. I literally dropped I stopped doing photography on one day, and I declined all the clients, and I focused all my time into 3D. And if I haven't done this, there's no way that within a year I could bring my skills up to a level where I could create courses. This just is not gonna happen, right? I literally was studying 14, 13, 14 hours a
Well,
day,
yeah, we
every
both
day
were.
for a year. Yeah,
You
but no,
have
I mean
to.
before we met, yeah.
Yeah, before we met. I mean, that's. I'm not saying you have to. Let's not say you have to study 14 to 16 hours, because I don't want to demotivate people per se. But you'll improve a lot quicker the more time you're able to put in. Let's just put it that way. It doesn't matter how many hours you
No,
study a day. It's just how much time you put in overall.
well, it's true. I'm not saying that they have to. I'm saying that, that's what I've done. And thanks to the fact that I've done it, is that I was able to move my skills so fast throughout the year, because it was just a year. We met in 2020 in May, which is not even a year after I started working in Blender. It was like 11 months, right?
Right. It's a
So
sacrifice,
I
essentially, is what you do. You sacrifice a
it,
little bit
it
of
wasn't
time.
really see, that's the thing. It wasn't sacrifice.
It
I just
wasn't.
truly freaking enjoy. No, dude, I couldn't stop modeling, man. I couldn't stop. I couldn't. With the moment I woke up, I was on my computer, and the moment I was going to bed, I just closed Blender. So Blender was on my screen all day, every day, as much as I could, right? The problem is that, people can't sometimes do that because, we got jobs and stuff. So this is difficult, right? But if you really enjoy something, and like you said, if you have this passion to do something, and even if you have a job on the side, put all the time you can into whatever you like, because it just might happen that, it will bear some fruits in the near future, right?
I'm kind of slowing down the uploads. Not that I was doing like every 2 days, and then I realized it started feeling kind of like a chore, because I was forcing myself to upload every 2 days, and I was like, I'm just gonna make this conscious effort to slow down a bit and upload when I feel like it, and not worry as much about when I upload, because at the end of the day, if you produce quality content, I think people are gonna enjoy it. So yeah, there is a point where what you once enjoyed can start to feel like a chore if you don't give yourself the necessary breaks and just be realistic with how you're feeling. Like if you're not feeling creative one day, forcing it's just gonna make you feel worse about it. I tell people they're feeling bad one day because they don't feel creative, and I said, well, wait till you wake up tomorrow, you'll probably feel completely different than you feel today. So just sit and play a video game, or go outside or do something like that, and
That is a good
you'll
way
feel
to
better.
go about it. Play video games is actually a fantastic way of learning as well because you have fun, but at the same time you're learning subconsciously. Um, whenever I play sci-fi games or any games really, I always look at this because it doesn't have to be a sci-fi game. You can play a non-sci-fi game and it can help you with a sci-fi design because it's about how people build stuff, how people, operate with colors or textures, how people operate with details. You don't have to look, you can be fantasy, it can be anything really. But of course, sci-fi is probably the best if you are into sci-fi stuff. But if you're into organic stuff, maybe something different. But for me, it's sci-fi. So when I play sci-fi games or watch sci-fi playthroughs, I study constantly because I always look at details. I always look at how things are designed, how things are blocked out, and it's a constant learning. So even if you relax and chill, subconsciously you keep learning. You know, but yeah, burnout is very dangerous. If you cut, if you try to push through it, it might harm you. It might do more harm than good. So if you really think that you're burning out and you kind of need a break, just take a bloody break.
Pretty
No one
much.
stands there with above you with a whip and tells you to work your butt off.
Except maybe
If you
an asshole boss of some sort, in which case you should
well,
leave that job,
that's
maybe.
different. That's different. Yeah.
Also, stop forcing different beliefs down people's throats, because sometimes I'll make like a tutorial and there's plenty of people who give like valid feedback or talk about like a different way to do things. But we also get people who try to force like one workflow down another's throat. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense, because if you get the result you want and you enjoy the work you've produced, like, if you're working in an Ngon Boolean bevel workflow and you're just going for an artistic render, why are you trying to force quad and sub D down my throat? It doesn't make sense. Now, there's some valid arguments like, oh, there might be a situation in which it would have been a better use. But trying to tell me that, I'm doing a cool concept render and people coming in saying, oh, you should be using quads and sub D, it's just, stop forcing different workflows down people's throats, and instead, I've been guilty of it as well, and I try to fix mistakes that I've made and not do that anymore. But
It's
at the end of the day, it's like, just do the workflow that you enjoy, and instead give feedback to people and discuss what you disagree with, rather than just being an asshole and saying you're wrong. This is how politics are in the U.S. as well. It's a big the Democrats and Republicans just bantering with each other, accomplishing nothing because they can't have a simple conversation with each other. It's ridiculous. Just instead of attacking people on how they work or how they believe, just have a good discussion to actually produce some improvement in the territory you're working in.
This usually happens when people have, when they lack knowledge. Because if someone has let's say you lived all your life in one country and you never been outside even your village, then you will not have, you will not have a spectrum, a vision, or sort of like a knowledge of whatever it's outside, right? So your experience and whatever you say is based on what's around you, and you can't even fathom what's outside. So this is the same here. It's a lack of knowledge or experience, and people just are very one-sided sometimes, and not very much open to learning or educating themselves, or sort of trying different things. People are scared of new things and different things. People like staying in a zone of comfort because it's something they know. But whenever you enter unknown waters, people tend to panic because they don't know what to do. They need guidance, and like in life, design or 3D is a constant discovery. So you just should always look outside and sort of look up to some people who are better than you, because there's tons of people who are better than us. And there's always someone that's better at something, okay? So there's always an opportunity to learn. So yeah.
Essentially, yeah, it's easy to get out of your comfort zone, when learning 3D, but uh, things like lifestyle changes can be a bit more difficult because, I mean, because what 20 something years ago you sold everything and dipped from Poland and went to Japan. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't a very comfortable decision. Maybe it was for you, but a lot of people would be scared, including myself, to make such a drastic lifestyle change. But sometimes that's what actually helps you improve as a person, doesn't it?
Bro, I couldn't wait to get out.
Well, there you go.
So,
Yeah, I'd be very
but it wasn't easy.
anxious
I
to
wouldn't
leave
say
the
it was easy.
U.S. and dip to a different country I don't even speak the same language for. So, I give you props for that one.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but like it's just. I think it's the way I do things. When I decide I want to do something, there's no way stopping me. So if I say I'm gonna start 3D tomorrow, I'm literally gonna start 3D tomorrow. If I say I'm gonna move to Japan, I'm just gonna move to Japan, and there's nothing stopping me if I really want something. And you can try things, but if you really know that you want to do something, you should commit to it 100% until you realize that it's not for you, because at least then you have no doubt that you've tried it and it didn't work and you move on. But if you dilly-dally and you do something a little bit here, a little bit there, you don't really know what you're doing and what you want to do. Um, it helps to define a character of a person and and sort of shape a personality when you push yourself sometimes. It's not easy and it's scary, of course. I came over here and I didn't know the language. I didn't have anything. It was just most people that come to who come to Japan, they pushed by companies. They come on a very comfy visa, and they are juiced in, and everything is peach. They don't even have to speak the language because they have Japanese following them, shadowing them wherever they go. And after 2 years, they leave, and they're oblivious. They don't even know nothing. They know anything about the country. It's just there's just expats. They come and go. But when you come over here and start from zero, it's a very different story, right? So you get to bump into very interesting situations that make you stronger because that's what it is about, right? Just getting stronger.
Yeah,
Like
well,
I'm a very impulsive person. My patience is very short. I'm like a hayfire. Okay, and since we work together, Josh is very collected. He's very sort of
I
mathematical.
don't react emotional. Well, it's easy to react emotionally. You get a hate comment from someone and you get fired up and you
Yeah,
really want to respond to it. But I've realized the worst time to respond is when you're in an emotional state. You should wait till you're
but
back
it's
to a
it's not
normal
even about
state.
it's not even about comments. It's about just me approaching life. If I, for example, see something cool, I react like a kid. I'm just ecstatic and happy. I can't hide emotions, and my emotions are usually extreme. I'm very pissed or very happy. So since we started working together, I've learned a lot how to kind of tone down a bit and become a bit more human.
So that's yeah,
Oh
that's
well,
something you've improved on in terms of your temper. And I've improved on, like, I used to be the what do you call it when you just the yes man type of person where you're just scared to say no to people. And I was like literally that type of person. Like someone wants
but
help, I just give them help for free, and I put my foot down now, which I'm more proud of. I don't let people walk over me as much anymore, and I'm just firm with what I do.
Not you see, that's an actually cool thing you said because I think it is down to age because I remember when I was your age, I was exactly the same because you just the nice there's less experience and less bad experiences in life when you're younger. And I think this is great that there's a difference because there's a huge difference of age between two of us, right? It's like 20 years or even more than
More
that.
than
So
that,
I learned a
almost
lot from
23.
you. Yeah, I learned a lot from Josh because Josh is, uh, Josh is more now, and he always finds stuff and talks about stuff that I wouldn't even think of. But then again, I got an experience, that comes with age, and I have like I bring a different baggage of of goods to this partnership, right? So we sort of it's just it's an amazing match because we both get to learn from different sort of levels of experience, right? And
It's wisdom essentially. Yeah, the wisdom's the right word. I'd say I don't have enough wisdom compared to some,
but
40, 50-year-old person that has experience.
But you have this amazing kind of like a thirst for searching around you, like constantly looking for things, and finding out them very quickly, because your mind is just incredibly quick, but when you get older, it just gets you slow down, you just get more irritated and tired and sort of like, I just can't be bothered kind of attitude, and you just become more mellow and sort of like chilled and relaxed. But people who are younger, they're always on a search, kind of like like a rabid dog, just fucking look around and search for stuff. And this is great because there are things that you came up with, and I would never even think about it. Um, in terms of Blender Bros or like where we're going, etc., which is great.
Yeah,
So
because I
I've
think I
learned.
started with the idea of like, let's just run a course together. Because I've done like little courses and stuff, nowhere near the level we're doing now. But you had the expertise in a different area than I did, and I was like, yeah, let's just run this sci-fi crate course. That was actually last June we released the first course.
That was so funny. Yeah, exactly. That was so funny how we started because we met through YouTube, and I was doing something on my PC and I was watching YouTube on another screen, and then I got this pop-up of some kind of a stream, and I've seen your channel before, and I kind of clicked on it. I don't know what made me click on it, but I clicked on it. It was live, and I was like, you're modeling in Blender. I was like, let's see it, and I started commenting, right? And then we kind of clicked, and you focused on modeling because you were trying to reply to comments. But then you realize that I know hard-ups and box cutters, so I was kind of handling the comment section, and you were modeling, and we sort of handled this stream together, and then we started talking on ArtStation, I think, and literally 2 or 3 days later we were already working on the course. It was
It was
hilarious.
straightforward. It was like I've been interested in making a business out of 3D and Blender. Like let's not beat around the bush. We need money to make a living off of Blender, and that was an opportunity for both of us to make money and develop. The way I approach it is, you want to make a living doing something, then you need to provide value to people in that area. And I
Yeah.
kind of saw the value that we both had to provide. You had a lot more
Hmm.
artistic expertise. That's when I like sucked at rendering and composition. Man, I've improved a lot now. But I knew you had that area under control, which is why you did the rendering of the crates. And um, we just the sci-fi crate course was the first one. Whipped up some cool designs that way. And yeah, that's areas we've improved on. But I mean, we both naturally, kind of wanted a lifestyle change. I wasn't 100% sure. Definitely wasn't making the money I needed to make a living off 3D, which fortunately, through the awesome support from everyone in the community and people who buy our products and whatnot, we've made so many products that we're actually both able to make a living from 3D now. And the important part for us has always been to just provide enough value and sell it at a fair price. Like I used to be so like worried to ask for money. It felt really uncomfortable to advertise that sci-fi crate course, but no longer is it uncomfortable. It's like it's an equal exchange of value. It's like you go to the grocery store, you need food to survive. You're going to give someone money in exchange for that food. It's the same with a course. We're providing a lot of valuable insight that's a bit more detailed than what our YouTube videos might have to offer. And you, as the customer, have some money that you're willing to give us. It's an equal exchange of value. So there's no discomfort for me anymore once I've realized that to ask for money for something that's valuable. We've worked hard on a product, we spent hundreds of hours developing products, and asking for 20, 30, 40 bucks for something that's valuable and is going to help someone improve in their 3D journey is not a big deal. And it used to be an uncomfortable foreign concept, but I've really started to enjoy the business side of things.
I had the same problem with photography, man. Exactly the same problem. I knew I was good, but I just couldn't come up with, the phrase, "That's how much you owe me." And my wife helped me with this one because she's a very business-minded person, and She doesn't have problem with asking people for money, for services, right? And so she taught me how to do it. And I just, yeah, I'm a typical artist, okay? I just want to create, you know? If I could have someone that could handle all this business related and admin related stuff for me, I would be in seven heaven, okay? So, you know, if I was loaded, I would just literally have someone pay them and please don't even tell me that the bills are coming. I don't want to know. I just want to focus on creating. And it was really difficult for me to actually charge people, you know, but I had to because I had to make a living, right? So I didn't like it, man. I think we don't like doing this or think about this because we are creative people and artists will never really well, you much more business minded than I am, which is another thing that I've learned from you. But artists are very the much more creative, you know, well, the purely creative creatures, right? And we don't really think about the business side of it because it's more of a, you know, the other half of the brain takes care of this, and we fully focus on the creativity. So that was really tough, man. That was probably the toughest part of working as a photographer when I had to charge people, like literally. I loved the work, I loved everything about it, but when I had to charge them, I felt guilty that I have to charge them for the work I've done. It's incredibly stupid feeling, but that's what it is, you know.
You put in
So
all that time and you still feel uncomfortable to ask for
so it's
money.
not
It's a
even
weird
experience.
thing.
Yeah, it's not even experience, you know. It's just I think it's a personality that we share. Um, we simply really like to create stuff and sort of put it out there for people to enjoy. And the pricing thing is much more difficult for me than it was for you, I think.
We
You
definitely
know.
undervalued ourselves at first because of that discomfort, I would say.
Mm,
We were
yeah.
selling things cheaper than I think we realistically should have sold it for. Now, I don't regret it, obviously, because that means people in the community got a super fair price for some products. But, you know, we've got a lot better at valuing products at what I actually think they're worth. And we try to be, you know, we try to actually go on the lower side of that. Like, there's courses we could charge 60 to 80 bucks for, and people would buy it. But I like to stay on the lower end of things because there are a lot of people that
Same.
you know, there's people in third
Yeah.
world countries and areas where like the dollar goes a lot further, and you know, it in a way, I do feel bad because I want to help these people, but at the same time, we have to make a living, and it's kind of finding a
Yeah.
decent balance to make it fair
Balance.
for
Yeah.
everyone. But there's never
Yeah.
going to be a purely fair way to price things, and that's I guess that's the difficult part of business is you'll always feel guilty about that. You'll have people approaching you asking for a free copy, and sometimes you have to put your foot down and say no because that then that kind of
Well,
devalues people who have already bought the product, and that's
well,
kind of a
let's not beat
difficult
about the
part.
bush, you know. I mean, we work like crazy. I mean, we work constantly, you know, and we do need to make a living out of it because that's what we do. So we need to eat, we need to pay the bills. I mean, you know, we need to live. So we need to charge something. But yeah, I hate, you know, I would hate charging too much because it's just, you know, I'm not a greedy person. I just wanna, you know, I just wanna enjoy what I do. And by actually overpricing stuff, you first of all, um, I would feel guilty. I would straight up, you know, I would feel guilty, you know, if we did. So
Yeah.
I think we're doing great. And besides, you know, I'll leave pricing usually to Josh because Josh is way better at this than me. I never knew how to price my stuff. All my prices for photography and calligraphy when I was selling my artwork, it was done by my wife. I have no fucking clue how to price this shit. Like zero, you know. So, you know, Josh usually comes up with a figure and I'm thinking like, yeah, that's a great idea, or like maybe we talk
And then we
about
go
it.
back and forth and kind of figure out a fair middle ground. Like
Yeah,
the course we just released, the tips course. I think we originally were gonna do it for 30 bucks, and we kind of talked about it, and we're like, you know, I think it's worth a bit more than 30 bucks because of the amount of value in there. So we kind of discussed it and found a pretty fair figure would be 45 bucks with a discount up front, and you know that ended up working. The reason
it's
why
like with
people
buying
made money.
PCs, you know, people say like shit, oh that's an expensive PC. Well, that's a bloody tool, you know. It's like you should spend money on what really
Because
counts.
it's gonna
Like,
give a return on your investment. My PC was quite expensive, but it's already um, made the money back tenfold
That's
because I need
something
it to
that we
work.
need.
Right.
Yeah, that's something we need, something, if you're an electrician, you need your tools. If you're a car mechanic, you need your tools. I mean, if you're doing 3D, you need your tools. So whenever you can, you should buy proper tools because then your job's gonna be easier and faster. I can, render a video, handbrake a video, and still work in Blender at the same time, without any lags or whatever. And I need that because I need speed. I'm doing
It's
so much
time.
every
I don't want
day.
to have to wait
Yeah.
for a render to finish while I'm recording. I just want to do
I don't
both.
have the time to wait. It's like it's better to buy an expensive equipment that's gonna support your work because if you compute the time wasted versus the time invested into your tools, it's a no-brainer. Wasted time is literally is a time when you can't make any products, which means you're not really able to make any money, right? So you just wait there idly uh, for something to finish. So, if I buy something, I buy something that really is important for me, the equipment I need for my job. But other things like, the luxury stuff and whatever, I honestly don't care about.
And also to grow the business as well. That's very important because we have a lot of business expenses as well. The website, different softwares we have to buy, different subscription-based services, different equipment.
Yeah. And the cost is gonna go up because we got some interesting plans for the future as well. But this, investments, if you don't invest, then you don't grow. Investments are important. And so it's all about kind of like a smart management and sort of being cautious, but at the same time, well, yeah, it's about being cautious with money and thinking how to manage it in the best way possible, right? All right, so you want to talk about June? We got some special stuff on June coming up.
Yeah, June 4th, which is a Friday. Yeah, June 4th at, we'll announce the video. It's probably going to start like 9 a.m. Eastern or something. But June 4th, we're going to be doing a 30% off all Blender Bros products. So we'd really recommend you grab that. We're going to post a video on the 4th so you don't have to forget that. Every single product will be 30% off except the new tips course because that'd be really unfair. We just released it and people might feel conned. So except for that course, all of our other products are going to be 30% off for that weekend, so Friday to Sunday. Now, 30% is steep, and for that reason, the only other time you're going to get a 30% off opportunity is during Black Friday, which is going to be 6 months from now. So we'd really recommend you get into this sale on the 4th and grab what you want over the weekend because the only other time you're going to get something as low as 30% off is going to be Black Friday in November. So don't miss out
Yeah,
on this one. I would really recommend picking that up.
30% is already pushing it, but there you go. I just want to say thank you for all the support and, kind of like celebrate the 1 year of our co-op with Josh. And, also in addition to all this, we're probably gonna be releasing a Blender Bros anniversary pack, which is
Oh
going to
yeah, where it
be
kind of has like
including
everything.
It's just gonna be including everything, okay, at 30% off. So it's gonna be bundle discount, and
Now
on
the
top of
price will
that,
be high, but if you see what you're getting, it's really not.
well, but it's everything. I mean, if you count all the products we released, there's like 41 or 42 positions on Gumroad, which means we've been releasing, more than one product every week almost, right? So if you calculate, I mean, compute
Patreon
all the
tutorials,
Patreon stuff, and then
courses, decals. There's
it's
we have so many different products that there's
yeah,
going to
it's
be
gonna
everything you need to
mind-boggle.
learn 3D basically.
I don't even remember all the products we released, to be honest. I had to actually look at the list to remember because it's just
We have
crazy,
eight
man.
months worth of Patreon tutorials. By the way, if you want to get those we'd recommend subbing to our Patreon so that way after the month ends you don't have to pay extra. But all our previous Patreon tutorials up until June basically, those will be up for sale. All the decals from that pack, so probably like over 100 to 200 decal range. Trim sheets are going to have all the courses discounted. What else do we have? We have just different random products here and there. You can go search on the page. Like literally everything except, like I said, except for that tips course is going to be discounted. So don't miss out.
Yeah, it's gonna be massive, you know. So like I said, it's just a big thanks to you guys because without your support, we wouldn't be here. We couldn't do what we really love to do, and we're definitely gonna continue to do what we do. And we have, you know, a lot of plans for the upcoming month and next year, etc. So it's gonna get better and bigger.
Yep, so that's about it on our side. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a few comments. Love to hear what you think. If there's anything you want to give some advice on, feedback, definitely let us know. We're willing to hear it. And
We're also open to suggestions, right? We're open to suggestions in terms of, for example, new content or maybe some new courses within the reason, of course, because if you guys suggest us to, you know, run a course in Maya, that's not gonna happen. But if it's in Blender, um, we are open. Probably there's gonna be some sculpting course coming in the future. I think, but we're still kind of debating what would be the
yeah, we
best
have to plan
approach.
that one out because we don't. Our main thing isn't sculpting, although we can sculpt, and people obviously want to see some sculpting stuff. We're definitely not, Yan Sculpt's level. That dude's crazy, but we definitely have a lot to offer in terms of sculpting and retopology, a more quad-based workflow, booleans after the sculpt, tricky things like that that you can really only find in Master Xeon's old videos. You have to really dig deep.
I
So
also think
useful.
we're gonna go more of a hard surface route with this one, not organic, but more
Yeah, of
hard
course.
surface.
But when
And
you retopo, it's going to be a hard surface, organic shape. You know what I mean?
mm, but you know, there's kind of a lot of interesting stuff with brushes that we would like to introduce and kind of interesting tricks and settings. So I think it's gonna be, you know, quite cool. And there's definitely new content coming for hard ups and box cutter and add-on content in general. Because you know that's what we think you guys should be using if you really want to push the envelope and you know improve because it's tools. You know, it's important to use tools, right tools for the job. And hard ups, for example, in box cutter, in my opinion, are probably the best add-ons for hard surface. If I had to pick, you know, one add-on from Blender Market now, it would be the bundle, um, Blender Hard Ups and Boxcutter bundle because I think it's just too good. So you know, definitely gonna be more stuff coming on the add-ons, especially Hard Ups and Boxcutter.
Yep, definitely. So that's about it from us. We'll see you. We'll probably have a video before June 4th, but keep a lookout on June 4th. We'll have like further information, things like that, where you can purchase, where you can get the discount, all that stuff. We'll definitely update you on. So thanks a bunch for hanging out. If you made it to the end of the video, we really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to another good year with everyone in the community. So thanks a bunch once again.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.